best for last. Nice. Thank you.
All right.
You guys have fun? Yeah? I did, myself. Is that working? Yeah, it is. Okay. Good to be here, and it was a fun show, and I wish more shows were run like this. So that's my take on it.
Okay, guys, if you have not participated in a panel before, a moderator host here, it's super easy. It's all about you guys and y'all making the connection with him and asking the questions that you want to ask and hopefully getting the answers that you're looking for. So I'm going to ask one simple icebreaker question. It's going to be really generic and it's going to be easy for him to answer, and then it's all up to you guys to come up with the juicy stuff. All right? And just like always, Lex has got like stickers for those that want to participate and ask a question, because I know anybody will do anything for a free sticker. So there's your motivation right there. All right, sir. First of all, I'm Uncle Nasty. Nice to meet you very much.
You too. Thank you.
And you already kind of said how you felt about this place, so I will ask you a different question. Okay.
All right.
How does it feel to be solidified in the genre of horror and completely be, set way up here as far as the monster guys go?
I wouldn't phrase it that way, but I feel honored to have played a character that people know. And before I played the character, there had been 6 films, so it wasn't like I was originating it. I was just playing a character that I loved, and I wanted to do whatever I could to do the character justice with the performance. And, I thought I always loved the Friday movies, and once I was in the position to play the character, I said, this is once in a lifetime chance. So you got to do whatever you can to add to it. So that's what I tried to do. I watched all the previous films before we started shooting Part 7, and then kind of developed my own take on how the character should be. So it worked out pretty well, and I continued for a number of years, and I just feel honored to have played a character that people knew around the world. So, yeah, thank you. Thanks.
So I'm just curious, when you were filming Jason Takes on Manhattan, whenever you were actually in Times Square, how many people tried to get into the camera?
Well, as he knows, and you guys probably know, that Jason Takes Manhattan was my second attempt at playing the character, and Jason Takes Manhattan and the entire film, other than one day, was shot in Vancouver, Canada. Then at the very last end of the shooting schedule, we went to New York, finally, and did the Times Square stuff. And it was still, I've done close to right around 180 films, and I've been doing this for 47 years, but that single night in Times Square will always be the most amazing night I've ever had, or day of shooting on a film, because we had Times Square to ourselves. And if you've ever been there, it's crazy to think that they could block off Times Square so that we could shoot a film. I don't even know if you could do it nowadays, but they were able to secure the entire area for us to shoot, and there were hundreds of people watching on all sides behind police barricades and stuff. I felt like a rock star, really. And while I was in Times Square, I thought, I don't want to ruin the whole experience for people that are watching, so I never took the hockey mask off. Typically between shots, because I have, an entire headpiece on and prosthetics and everything, I thought it might be kind of cool to not ever take the mask off to ruin the image for people watching, so I never did. And we only shot for that one night in Times Square, but those are the iconic scenes in the movie. A lot of scenes that people think are in Times Square are not, like when I'm look up at the billboard and stuff, that's all in Canada. But the boombox kicking and, the other scenes that you can really tell were in Times Square was just amazing. I don't think I'll ever experience something like that again, that feeling, and it was just so much fun. I've done a lot of films with big time actors, and it's fun, but nothing will ever compare to that night.
All right, another Jason Takes Manhattan question. That movie actually turns 35 today.
Exactly. That, as he pointed out, the movie was released 35 years ago today, which is kind of cool. It came out in theaters, so it's good to be with you guys on the anniversary.
Yeah. So, seeing that it's 35, how do you feel about the movie's legacy, and how do you think it holds up in the series?
With what?
How do you think it holds up in the Friday the 13th series?
Well, I mean, it's not necessarily one of the favorites of Friday fans, but they still have love for it. But, the thing that pissed everybody off was that it was called Jason Takes Manhattan, and most of the movie was on a boat. I didn't write the fucking thing, so not my fault. I just did what I was supposed to do and be violent with people and make it fun. But, a lot of people still like the movie because of what it was. I wish we had shot more actually in New York City myself. But, it's a budget thing, and shooting in Times Square had to be incredibly expensive because this was, where we had to keep the entire area to the filming. And so I understand why more of it wasn't, but I just wish more of it had been in New York. But the movie is kind of like Jason X in a way, where people are like, what? Jason in New York, Jason in space. I was a little surprised both times I read the script, but I figured, well, I'll just make the character consistent to what he has been in the past and let the movie be what it is. I mean, how many movies can you do about Jason in Crystal Lake? I mean, you got to do something different at some point to get people interested, but I guess it still holds up somewhat in the legacy of the Friday the 13th franchise. My personal favorite will always be Part 7 for me. Mainly because of the makeup and the look of Jason, but more importantly for me is the stunts, because typically in a Friday movie, not that much happens to Jason. It's all him inflicting damage on other people. But with the storyline being where she had the powers to do things with her mind and stuff, it made it kind of interesting and far more enjoyable for a stunt person like myself to be able to work on that film. And that still will always be my favorite fire stunt. when I was on fire as Jason in Part 7. And most of you know I got burned in a fire stunt 11 years before that. And most people will say, you almost died from being on fire, so you doing another one? And I said, yes. And it'll always be my favorite fire stunt I've done, because I was on fire so long. And with stunts, typically what you see on the screen is not what really happened, but with that one, it's pretty accurate.
Hi, Kane. You already answered part of my question I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you what your favorite Jason movie was that you filmed, and what made the what made the movie, or what did you enjoy most filming about the movie, and what was your favorite kill in that movie?
Yeah. Well, so like you said, and kind of I said before, the stunts in the movie, so many of the stunts that happened to Jason were written a certain way, and then I collaborated with John Beekler, who was directing and doing my makeup also, and he designed the whole look of Jason and stuff, and just the fact that he and I worked together and figuring out different action scenes and changing things that were written a certain way. Like, I'm sure you've heard the story about when I walk up the stairs and the door is locked. I'm chasing somebody up the stairs. The door is locked. She turns around. I'm coming up the stairs. Really creepy looking scene, I think, but it was written as with her mind, she makes the light start shaking and it hits me in the chest and I tumble down the stairs. And sorry if you've heard the story before, I'm sure you have, but I talked to John. I said, that's all right, but why don't we make it more exciting where the light starts shaking with her powers and it hits me right in the hockey mask, because it's a breakaway light, which is, not real glass, but doesn't mean you can't be injured by it. It hits me straight in the mask, and then I fall like a tree back down the stairs. And I said, if we just make, part of the stairs balsa wood, then I can fall through them into a pad, and I think that would look more exciting. And John agreed, and we did it that way. And it's one of my favorite shots in the movie, is just seeing that thing hit my face and then just falling back. And it's hard to, from a stunt point of view, to fall backwards like a tree and not tuck, because you're used to tucking at the end of any kind of fall when you hit the pad. And I just wanted to fall straight back, and I went through all the stairs and hit my landing area, which was just cardboard boxes within the stairwell space. And I love that shot, because it's not what you expected. And I've always in my career wanted to do scenes and stunts that are a little different than what you've always seen before. And so I really enjoyed that scene itself. And John was so open to discussing, even though he had ideas how he wanted the character to act and stuff, he was open to suggestions. And so he and I collaborated very well on that movie. And I think, based on that performance is why someone, the next film, Jason Takes Manhattan, said, I'd like this guy to continue, because nobody had done that before. There had been 6 movies before I started, and it was a different guy playing Jason every time. So nobody ever thought, that was great, so let's have him back. So I felt honored that I did part 8, and then, even more so with Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X, and should have been Freddy Versus, but anyway. I was told I was doing that movie, remember. You've heard me talk about it. I was given the script and told I was doing that movie. Freddy versus Jason, and then they hired a director that wanted to do something else, and I was out. So Hollywood can be fantastic, but not very loyal at times. So, but that's how it goes. And then I continued and worked with Adam Green and developed a new character. So anyway, Hatchet.
What has been the craziest fan experience that you've had?
Craziest fan experience? Wow, interesting. I was always known for years at conventions doing a certain pose, which was to choke you with both my hands around your neck. And it became such a popular thing at conventions to do that pose because I would choke you a little bit. And maybe more than a little bit, but somebody ended up suing me for injuring him, and he did not prevail in the lawsuit, but the end result was that I can't do it that pose anymore, which sucks because everybody liked it. I have pictures on my phone choking that way with so many people that I was excited to meet. I have pictures choking most of the Walking Dead cast, including Norman, who I was at a show with Norman in Atlanta, and I had done a few poses with like Chandler and Andrew Lincoln and stuff. And I was leaving the show floor, and Norman says, "Hey, you didn't fucking choke me." I said, "Come over here, motherfucker." Sorry. And we did the pose. It's in my phone. I have a picture which I think is got to be rare. I have a picture choking Mike Tyson in my phone, and he's going to fight Jake Paul. Was supposed to be last week, but it's been delayed till November 15th. And both my sons and I are going to go to the fight. We already bought tickets, and we're going to go to the fight. It's going to be in the Dallas Cowboys Stadium for a boxing match. They're going to fill the stadium because it's going to be such a huge fight, and we have really good seats and stuff. So, I'm as much fun as it is to do films and stunts. It's also fun to meet people that you admire. And, I was just telling some people a little while ago, we're still doing the Texas Chainsaw Massacre video game. Even though it's out, we keep adding more DLC to it, which is more characters and different killers and stuff. And we continually do more motion capture for the game. And we were at Henson Studios in Hollywood. That's where we do the motion capture for the Friday game and for Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And we realized there was a couple guys recording music next door. And I happened to be fans of both of them, but mostly of one of them. And they came over to our stage, and I have pictures on my phone of posing with chainsaws with Jelly Roll and Machine Gun Kelly. That's fucking cool. So when you're able to meet people like that who you're a fan of, but they also happen to be your fans of your work, it's amazing. And then, with stunts, you do fight scenes and action scenes with actors that you admire, and because we're kind of there to make them look good, in a fight scene or something, they end up being far more friendly than I think they would be had you not been, doing something that intimate, if you want to say it. But a fight scene like working on Seven with Brad Pitt was amazing. I think he's a great actor, and just doing that movie and action scenes with him was so much fun. So, as much fun as it is to do something physically dangerous and accomplish it, it's also fun to work with people that you admire. So it's been a lot of fun.
Thank you for being here, Kane. My question is, I recently watched last year The Killer Goats, and I really enjoyed that film.
No, you did not.
How
many people, wait a minute, how many people in this audience have seen a movie called Kill Her Goats? 2. There you go.
I also enjoy, I'm a big fan of B-movies too, but...
About what?
Just B-movies, like lesser known movies.
Right.
So I really did enjoy it, but it got me thinking, that's a really physical role, so do you have to do like a special workout routine, or how do you stay in, those still be able to do those physical roles?
Yeah, I mean, it's getting harder now because I just turned 69, and so unfortunately not quite as physically capable as I used to be, but still fun. And I make fun of that movie, but it was still fun to do. But the name of it is weird. Kill Her Goats, not Killer Goats. Kill Her Goats. And I wear a goat head. I'd do anything for a movie, I guess. If you ever want to see, and I shouldn't even bring it up, but if you ever want to see some embarrassing roles that I've done, not the movie necessarily, but the role I've played, you got to look at stuff like Hard Bodies. Anybody ever remember that movie? You do? Hard Bodies, really? I just was sent the scene that I'm in Hard Bodies. It's a beach comedy where I'm playing like a weird guy that goes to the beach and tries to hit on the girls and stuff. I wear capris on the beach and black shoes, and I have a big ass afro, which was my hair. I have that picture on my phone too, but every actor that is in the business has movies that they're embarrassed about, and that's kind of one of mine. But Hard Bodies, oh my God, I looked like such a moron. But there's, I did an episode of Seinfeld once, and I did a fight scene with Kramer, and that was a lot of fun. And this is stuff that shows and TV series that I never expected to be able to work on. Back in the day, I used to work on The Incredible Hulk a lot, on Dukes of Hazzard, Wonder Woman. These are all before you guys were even watching TV, probably, but of the shows. And Hill Street Blues, and oh my God, so many TV series. I did all the stunts on Days of Our Lives for many years. And you wouldn't think it was stunts on a soap opera, but they used to, like twice a year, go out and shoot exterior scenes, because a soap opera is typically on a sound stage and you never see anything outdoors. So they would go out and do some action scenes, and the executive producer was a friend, and so I did all the stunts in that show, hanging from a helicopter, falling off a cliff, flipping a car, all on Days of Our Lives. And yeah, it was a lot of fun, because I would be stunt coordinator, so I would decide who does what, and it was usually I'd do all the good stuff. So
Anyway, thank you. I'm just kidding.
I don't think that was for you. Just guessing, but
no. I was originally going to ask about that fight scene with Tina, because I think that's one of the coolest fight scenes ever. But
with whom?
With Tina at the end of part 7. Yes, because I mean that's. But instead, I'll ask you if you think there's anything to the theory in the Friday the 13th series that around 6 or 7, Jason becomes like almost a zombie Jason, and
yes.
You see in some scenes there's almost like a teleportation in situations. Do you believe there's anything to that theory that like after they kill him in final chapter, it's almost like he's resurrected and with new such powers, or is that just some sort of
yeah, I mean, that's all subject to interpretation, but it is ironic that Friday the 13th part 4 was called the final chapter. And we did how many after that? 8?
Like 6 more?
8 films after part 4. But, you know, Ted White played Jason in part 4, and he was a stunt guy also, so we had worked together before and after that, and he was a good friend. I think he did a great job as Jason, by the way. Part 4 for me, Ted White and CJ, part 6, I think did really good jobs as the character, but I don't know if there's, you know, I never really got into the theory and you know, the storyline and stuff. I just knew why I was there. I was there to do violent shit to people, make it look real, and then try to add a little character to the character. Which, thank you. That's why I came up with the breathing thing. You've heard it before, but whenever I would watch a Friday movie, I always thought, if Jason was staring at you and just standing still, didn't look that scary. It looked like a mannequin, because you can't see any facial expressions. You can't hear anything, obviously. So that's when when we started doing makeup tests, I started looking in the mirror and saying, what can I do to look like I'm more about to explode? And that's when I came up with the breathing thing, and then a lot of people, in fact, a lot of people asked here at this convention, might have been you also, but how the first person years ago that said, what I love about how you play Jason is how, if you're going to turn and go that way, that you do this. Where I turn my head first and then my body. And the first person that pointed that out, I said, shit, I didn't even know I did that. I just did what felt right and natural, because that's the thing. It's so hard to be scary in a character like that, to look intimidating and scary without making it look like you're trying to do that. I don't know if that makes sense, but so many people, when they have no facial expressions and no voice, try too hard and it looks phony. So I'd always tried to do stuff that looked natural and still scary, and that's very hard to do. And, you know, evidently that's what people enjoyed the most, so.
By the way, Ted White was from Oklahoma City.
What?
Ted White was from here in Oklahoma City.
Ted White was?
Yes.
That's
Really?
Yes.
I don't think I ever knew that. Before he started in stunts or during?
He was born in Krebs, just outside of McAllister, and his family moved here, and he grew up in Oklahoma City.
That's awesome.
Wow. Connection to Friday the 13th in this city. That's cool. Wow. I never knew that. He had an amazing career. He, doubled John Wayne and stuff back in the day, and he was a good guy and never really realized how important he was to the franchise. Uh-oh.
Good timing.
Is that Exorcist music? Oh, Halloween, yes. Yeah, fuck Halloween. No, I shouldn't say that because I've always loved that franchise. I should say fuck Freddy Krueger.
Oh!
Because, as we all know, Freddy's a bitch and a child molester. So, what? He's not? Child murderer. Okay, much better. Thanks. Is it?
It's been rewritten twice.
So, wait. So you're saying it's better to murder a child than rape a child?
They will not have the PTSD.
Who won't? Because they're dead? Oh, wow.
I agree with that.
Point taken. I gotcha.
Y'all be careful.
No long-lasting effects if you're dead, I guess. All right. He's still a bitch, though. Freddy's a bitch. You know that. So is Robert, by the way. I'll say that on camera. Where's that camera? Oh, he knows.
I'm glad you said that because my brother right here loves Robert Englund and Freddy Krueger. So.
Which would have been YouTube?
I should have been in that movie, man.
There you go.
But Ken did a good job, I got to admit.
In number 8, when you were in the scene where you were with Kelly Hu, I believe that's her name. And
Kelly who?
Kelly Hu. Who. But whenever you were chasing her and you were in that scene, it was like a disco kind of area.
Yep.
And after you choked her out and you threw her,
yeah.
Was there anything below her at all, or you just said, fuck it, I'm going to throw her?
Well, that's a good point, because when we went onto the set to the dance stage, disco, whatever, I realized that the ceiling was quite low. Mm-hmm. And I said, I'm going to pick her up by her throat. How cool would it be for me to choke her against the ceiling?
Yeah.
You never see that. And, of course, I did that with Kelly, and then she had a stunt double because now she's dead, and I threw the stunt girl on the floor, and she hits so hard. If you ever watch that again, it is brutal the way she hits the floor. And it was it's a great scene because I thought it was so creative, and the actress Kelly let me pick her up by her throat, and then I threw the stunt girl, and she just hit so hard. Oh, I love that scene.
And with that one, I was also wondering, what is your favorite kill from those 4 Jasons you played? Like in all 4 of those movies, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Everybody knows. Ready? Wait. On 3, say what you think my favorite kill is. 1, 2, 3. That is correct. Sleeping bag. Because I killed somebody with something that is not a weapon.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, use your own mind in your hands. I get it.
It's supposed to be providing comfort, and I killed her with it. And I love that scene. That's why we brought it back in Jason X for just an homage.
Yeah.
So sleeping bag is number 1. Yes, that's correct. Frozen head is number 2. Jason X. And then number 3? What? Tree trimmer? That's 4. Number 3 would be punching the guy's head off.
Oh, yeah, the number 8.
Yes.
Boom.
Yeah, and by the way, that actor, V.C. Dupree, has been doing conventions once in a while, and he and I are going to eventually, somewhere, do a photo op where I'm in the Part 8 costume, he's in his tracksuit, and we're facing off, and somebody's between us trying to hold us apart. I think that'd be an amazing photo op.
That's awesome.
VC is a great guy, and you've probably heard it before. I've done so many of these. I'm sorry if it's boring, but when I punch the head off the dummy, of course I grab him, go to swing the punch, and then it's a dummy head, and I punch the head off the dummy. And when we first shot it, it flew off the roof and landed in the dumpster, for real. And me and the director are like, oh, we got to shoot that. Yeah. So that's why it ends up in the dumpster, because it really did, and that was never planned. So.
Hi.
Jason versus Michael, yes. I would love to see that, and because Michael is an amazing character also. My two favorite horror characters before I started playing any was Jason and Michael. And how amazing would it be to see a battle between those two, but somehow I would like to play both characters. I don't know. In Oklahoma City, yes. Ted White's stomping grounds. But I think it would be amazing to do it. It's just the problem is the politics and the legal issues between the two companies. I doubt it could ever happen. I was amazed that they were able to do Freddy versus Jason, but Jason versus Michael, that would be the best.
Hi, I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that you are Jason for us. So how does it feel knowing that even the younger generations that are coming up, my cousin is 5, and he's growing up and he's loving Jason, and I want to know what your opinion is, knowing that the younger generation is loving it just as much as we did.
I'm actually surprised that the younger generation even knows about the movies, because I did an interview recently about where somebody asked me, what movie scared you when you were young? And this will obviously give away how old I actually am, but the first movie that scared me was The Birds. And when I used to have nightmares about, I think it was a woman laying there with her eyes pecked out. Oh, fucking haunted me. So it's amazing to me that people know the characters still. That's how iconic those characters are. Between Michael, which was before Jason, 1978, I believe, and Jason wasn't until 1980. And then Freddy came along, kind of riding the coattails. Because I don't know if I mentioned before, but he's a bitch. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. But it is amazing that there is still a following where there's so many quality horror films now that people still remember those characters. I will always feel honored and, incredibly happy that I was able to play a character that is known around the world like that.
Out of all the plots and all the stories that you've actually played in, some of them are completely random, as in Jason X and several others, but how did it feel being able to represent and bring back the homage to like the sleeping bag scene and doing stuff like that, bringing it back and, having it where you can make people laugh and enjoy the scenes again?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of, the fact that I played Jason in Part 7 was an incredible honor, but I never expected it to go past that, because nobody had. I was one of 7 guys at that time that played the character. And so for about 10 months after Part 7 came out and I started doing conventions and signing stuff for people and everything, I used to sign my name and put Jason number 7 just for a brief time. And then once I found out I was going to do Part 8 and I started, continuing with convention, I dropped the number 7 thing. So if you ever see my signature with a number 7 next to it, that was only for like 10 months out of all the years I've been doing conventions. And when I was hired to do that one, I thought, wow, this is totally groundbreaking because nobody's ever done it. And then the fact that I did 2 more after that one, I never expected it, never took it for granted, and always, each time, I was very excited to have been hired again to play the character. And, I don't know why, really, other than maybe that I was putting more into the character that maybe people had in the past, possibly, because, it's easy to just think, well, I can't speak and I can't use my face, so I might as well just walk around kind of, boringly, really. So that's why, like I said before, I tried to add some things, and maybe that helped me continue playing the character. But, my oldest son's name is Jace because of this. Both my sons have been in different films that I've done. My youngest son, Reed, was in Ed Gein, if you ever saw that movie. He was like 8 years old or something and has a little dialogue in there. And Jace, my oldest, was young Victor Crowley in the first Hatchet movie, because I have a scene as Victor's father where I'm emotional and stuff, and my son Jace was Victor in the makeup doing kind of a weird little scene. So but I don't know, I you'll never be able to explain when you feel like you've been so privileged to do something in life that not only do you love, but people appreciate, and it totally changed my career.
In the 7th movie, I was curious how the special effects were done when the girl with the psychic powers were going against your mask and your head starts oozing and starts, like trying to get to you. How was that done with the oozing under the mask? Just in that time period, how did they do that with the coming out of your skull and stuff like that?
Yeah, I thought the makeup was amazing in Part 7. And then when they did the effects with, like you're saying, the mask breaks off Jason's face and like disgusting pus-looking shit is oozing out of the head. That was mostly a prosthetic head. It wasn't on me necessarily, but it was an animatronic head where they could just pump stuff through tubes and make it ooze out. And I didn't even know that they had shot that until I saw the movie. I was like, oh, God. That's fucking gross.
Another quick question, sorry, but I'm just curious because there's a lot of rumors going around. Is it or kill? Like, which one is it? I was curious from you.
It is kind of both.
Okay.
I think early on it was kill, ma. But then as the movies progressed, it just became more of a sound, which I always thought was better. Whenever somebody asked me to recreate the sound, I always do it that way. Because I think that sounds scarier.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I've got like a two-part question for you.
Okay.
In your experience as a stuntman, what's one, the worst part about being a stuntman? And then two, what's the best or your favorite part about being a stuntman?
It's interesting because just last week, my oldest son Jace came to visit us. We live in Park City, Utah now, and we watched The Fall Guy with the new one. I used to try and work on that show and never got a job on Fall Guy TV series, but the movie was pretty well done. A lot of big stunts, some stuff, of course, that could never happen the way it was in the movie, but only people that would know that are stunt people. Like when they're dragging the airbag behind I don't know if you've seen the movie, but they're dragging an airbag around behind a pickup truck so that somebody can fall from the helicopter into it. You could never do that because an airbag works because there are vents on the side of the airbag with fans blowing air into it to keep it inflated, so that when you hit it on a high fall, all the air escapes out of the vents and it makes a nice cushioned landing. So you can't drag it around because it wouldn't stay inflated. But point being, I was just talking to people about this. Watching the movie was fun. It was a lot of good stunts, a lot of people I know in the movie. But at the end, I felt a little sad because I was like, 47 years I've been doing stunts. And to see the movie and remember the feeling that you have when you do a big film, and I've done a lot of big stunt movies over the years, and the camaraderie between all the stunt people and the excitement and stuff, you end up missing after that long. And I was like slightly sad because I kind of missed that, because stunt community is very close and we all know each other and we're all, watching each other's backs when you do a film. And you do something dangerous successfully, there's such a high afterwards that you kind of end up missing that later in life. So I might, just to get back